We'll discuss about the testing of the DC motors. For any DC machine, whether it is a generator or a motor, its efficiency is important because every machine has to work efficiently. So this means that the losses must be as small as possible in the DC machines. Losses will determine the heating of the machine and hence the rating or power output that can be obtained without insulation failure. The various tests are performed to obtain the information about the losses, various losses taking place in the DC machine. That means calculation of losses is important for calculation of efficiency, to determine the heating of the machine, to determine the rating of the machine, etc. So let us study various losses in the DC machines. There are different types of losses: copper losses, iron ore core losses, mechanical losses. So we'll conduct different tests to calculate these losses. So first, the copper losses. The copper losses are the losses taking place due to current flowing in the winding. So these are basically two windings. There are basically two windings in a DC machine, that is armature winding as well as field winding. Copper loss are proportional to, we know, square of the current flowing through the windings. So various copper loss, if you see, the armature copper loss is Ia square Ra. Ra is the armature winding resistance, Ia is the armature current. Coming to shunt field copper loss, ISH square RSH. Where RSH shunt field winding resistance, ISH shunt field current. With a series motor, a compound motor, we have to calculate series field copper loss, IS square RSG, where RSG is the series field winding resistance, ISC is the series field current. So if you take a compound machine, it will have both series field as well as shunt field. That means it has both the series field copper loss as well as shunt field copper loss. And along with this copper loss, there is a brush contact resistance drop. Generally, this drop is very less, that will be included in the armature copper loss. Next, iron or core losses. These losses are also called as magnetic losses. These losses include hysteresis loss and eddy current loss. So the hysteresis loss is proportional to frequency and maximum flux density in the air gap, which is given by the Steinmetz hysteresis coefficient into Bm whole power 1.6, where Bm is the flux density, F frequency of magnetic reversals, V volume of the core in meter cube. We have discussed about this hysteresis loss in the magnetic circuits already. So this hysteresis loss is basically due to reversal of the magnetization of the armature core. I discussed it in BH curve also. Now, the eddy currents loss exists due to eddy currents. When the armature core rotates, it cuts the magnetic flux. Then EMF is induced in the core. The EMF sets up eddy currents which cause power loss. So this loss is given by K constant into magnetic flux density square, F frequency of the magnetic reversal square, T thickness of the each lamination square into V volume of the core. This is in watts, eddy current loss. So hysteresis loss is minimized by selecting core material having low hysteresis coefficient. Eddy current loss is minimized by selecting laminated construction of the core. So these losses are almost constant for a DC machine. So next, mechanical losses. So these mechanical losses, again, there are two types: friction and windage loss. Normally, some power is required to overcome the mechanical friction and wind resistance at the shaft. This loss is nothing but the friction and windage loss. These mechanical losses are also constant for a DC machine. So the magnetic and mechanical losses together called stray losses. If you take a shunt and compound DC machines where the field current is constant, therefore field copper loss is also constant. Therefore, the stray losses, which are nothing but magnetic and mechanical losses, together with the field current, field copper loss for shunt and compound machines is called constant losses. So what are the variable losses which varies with load? Here if you take the armature copper loss, the armature current depends upon the load. The armature copper loss are called variable losses. So already have observed for generator and motor, the input for the generator is mechanical. So where the power input is equal to output of the driving machine. So here there is an electrical power developed in the armature Eg into Ia. Here there is a iron and friction loss. And this electrical power developed is converted into electrical power output. So here there is a copper loss here. So the output is electrical output. So if you see for the motor, the input is electrical. Therefore, electrical power input of the motor is equal to Vi, and which is converted into power developed in the armature Eg into Ia. There is a copper loss here, and that is converted into motor output in watts. That is mechanical output, where the losses between these two phases is iron and friction losses. So efficiency of a DC machine is equal to total output by total input into 100. So what is the copper loss, which is a variable loss, where Pi is called constant losses. Therefore, total input is equal to output plus copper loss plus constant losses. So therefore, percentage of efficiency is equal to output by input into 100. So we have seen the input is equal to output plus copper loss plus constant loss. Here the input, that's what I have observed. Therefore, output by input into 100, which is equal to output by output plus losses. Therefore, the efficiency equal to output by output plus copper loss plus constant loss into 100. So what is the mechanical efficiency? If you observe here, the total power generated in the armature to the total mechanical power input to the generator. If you see the generator, this is the mechanical power input, is the electrical power developed in the armature. Therefore, this output by this input is mechanical efficiency. What is electrical efficiency? It is the ratio of the total power supplied to the load to the total power generated. What is the output here? For this motor, this is the input, this is the output. If you take for generator, Vi is the output, Eg into Ia is the input. So therefore, the electrical efficiency is equal to Vi by Eg into Ia. So here you will get mechanical efficiency, here you will get electrical efficiency. Then overall commercial efficiency is given as product of mechanical efficiency into electrical efficiency. So if you multiply these two, you will get Vt into IL by P into 100, where Vt into IL is the output of the generator and the input is a mechanical input, Pin. Therefore, this is the efficiency. So if you take for generator, the efficiency equal to output by output plus losses, because we can calculate the output V into I. If you take the motor, input is known, which is V into I. Therefore, input minus losses divided by input into 100. Therefore, calculation of losses is an important aspect while determining the efficiency of a generator or motor. So what is the condition for maximum efficiency? So we know the output power is equal to V into I for a generator. What are the copper losses? Variable losses, IA square RA. So if you neglect the shunt field current, then IA is equal to I total current, therefore I square RA. So therefore the efficiency equal to output VI by output plus copper loss plus constant loss. So if you minimize this, it becomes 1 by 1 plus IRA by V plus PI by VI into 100. So this efficiency is maximum when the denominator is minimum. Therefore, using maximum minima theorem, so differentiate this and equal to 0 and minimize this expression, we will get I square RA is equal to PI, which is equal to P copper loss. That means copper loss means variable loss, PI is constant loss. Therefore, variable loss equal to constant loss, will get maximum efficiency. So from this expression, we can write IA is equal to root of PI by RA. That means constant loss divided by armature resistance for shunt generator. Because shunt generator, if you neglect ISH, IA is equal to I. If you take for series generator, IA is equal to PI by RA plus RSG. So testing of DC motors. So the efficiency of the motor is given by output power by input power. That means input minus losses by input. So various losses taking place in a DC motor and efficiency can be calculated by carrying out testing of the DC motors. There are different methods of testing in that they are classified as direct method of testing and direct method of testing. Let us see. In the direct method of testing, the motor to be tested is actually loaded and the input and output are measured. Therefore, efficiency given by output by input. So when you are actually loading, so this method is employed for small type of motors because the motor is loaded by means of a brake applied to water cooled pulleys. The main drawback of this method is accuracy in determining the mechanical power output of the motor is limited. Accuracy is limited. It is difficult to provide full load for the large capacity motors because for the sake of testing, it is uneconomical to load the motors up to full load condition. For small motors, it is okay, but for large size of motors, it is waste of power. It is not economical. So that's why you'll go for indirect method of testing. In this, the motors are not actually loaded. They are not loaded directly. But the losses and efficiency at different loads can be estimated. There are different methods. Out of different methods, Swinburne's test, Hopkinson's test are commonly used in practice on shunt motors. Since series motors cannot be started without load, therefore no load test cannot be performed on the series motors. We'll go for field tests there. So first we'll discuss the Swinburne's test, which is also called as no load test. So this is the test arrangement. Generally, this Swinburne's test is suitable for a machines with or machines which has flux remains constant. Practically flux is constant. For which type of machines flux is practically constant? Shunt machines as well as compound machines. In the shunt motors, compound motors. So in this, we'll conduct no load test. That means without actually loading the motor, the losses and efficiency at a different loads can be found out. We'll conduct only one no load test, and losses and efficiency can be calculated for at any load. So the motor is run at no load at its rated voltage. First, initially, rated voltage is applied, and if you observe at the starting, some resistance is connected in series with the armature, and some resistance is connected in series with the field. We know that the resistance in the armature connected in at maximum position initially. The resistance in the field is kept at minimum position. Why? If it is in the maximum position, therefore more voltage drop in the armature, as we discussed in the speed control methods, and less voltage applied across the armature, therefore initially speed is less. Same way, if you keep this field resistance in the minimum position, then the field current flowing is maximum initially, therefore flux is maximum, therefore speed is minimum. That means at the beginning, field to be at minimum position, armature resistance to be at a maximum position, field resistance at minimum position. So slowly the resistance in the armature cut, then what happens? The voltage applied across the armature increases, therefore speed increases. Once we attain the speed near to the rated speed, then the speed is adjusted to exactly the rated speed with the help of the shunt field rheostat. The smooth adjustment by adjusting the resistance. That means by increasing this, because initially is at minimum position, by increasing the resistance, so the speed will be increased because the current will be reduced, flux is reduced, therefore speed is increased. Therefore, by adjusting the field resistance, the speed is brought to the rated speed. So now the motor at no load and rated speed, this is a no load condition. Under no load condition, it is working. That means A1 measures this armature current, A2 measures the shunt current. So if V is the applied voltage, then the motor input at no load will be V into I plus IA plus ISH. That means sum of armature current and field current. Then what is the field copper loss? Simply the voltage applied across the field is V, which is parallel, into the current flowing is ISH. So that is the field copper loss. So if RA is the resistance, what is the armature copper loss? IA square RA. Then the stray losses, which include iron, friction, windage losses, can be obtained as total input at no load minus field copper loss minus no load armature copper loss. So total, the input at no load is given by V into the current I is equal to IA plus ISH, minus what is the field copper loss? V into ISH, minus no load armature copper loss IA square RA. So stray losses can be denoted as WA. In the field and armature windings, there will be copper loss due to flow of current, which will increase the temperature of the field and armature winding when the motor is loaded. This increase in temperature will affect the resistances. So because we are not conducting the load test, we are conducting only no load test. Therefore, you have to find out if it is loaded, how the resistance of the field and armature is affected. So that's why the new value of the field resistance RSH dash and the armature resistance RA dash can be found by considering rise in temperature as about 40 degrees. So if alpha 1 is the resistance temperature coefficient of the copper at room temperature, then we can write RA dash is equal to RA into 1 plus alpha 1 into 40. So same way, at room temperature, the shunt field winding resistance will be RSH by RSH is equal to V by ISH, where RSH dash is equal to RSH into 1 plus alpha 1 into 40. That means when it is actually loaded, then the change in resistance, because of temperature, the resistance will be changed. Those we have calculated here. Now the shunt winding current ISH dash is equal to V by RSH dash. Therefore, new field copper loss is equal to ISH square into RSH. Now, if you want to find the efficiency of the motor, say at 1/4 of the full load, it can be calculated as is given below. Let us take IFL is the full load current of the motor, WF is the field copper loss, W is the stray losses. Then the load current at 1/4 of the full load is equal to IFL by 4. Then the motor input at 1/4 of the full load is equal to V into IFL by 4. Therefore, the armature current at 1/4 of the full load is equal to IA dash equal to total current at 1/4 of the load minus ISH dash, because this ISH is almost constant. Therefore, armature copper loss at 1/4 of the full load is equal to IA dash square RA, that is equal to IFL by 4 minus ISH dash, which is IA dash square into RA. Therefore, motor output at 1/4 of the full load is equal to motor input at 1/4 of the load minus losses. So, therefore, this is the V into IFL by 4 is the motor input minus, these are the copper losses, IFL by 4 minus ISH dash whole square into RA minus WF minus W, where WF is the, what is that, field couplings, minus W is the stray loss. So therefore, V into IFL by 4 minus the armature copper loss minus field copper loss minus stray loss is nothing but the motor output at 1/4 of the full load. Therefore, efficiency at 1/4 of the full load given by output by input. Input minus losses divided by input. So this is the total input. These are the total losses divided by input at 1/4 of the full load. So this is the way you can calculate the efficiency at any load just by conducting a no load test. So this is the efficiency of the motor when the load on the motor is 1/4 of the full load, which can be found without loading the motor. The efficiency at other loads can be calculated similarly, as we said. Let us see what are the advantages and disadvantages of this Swinburne's test. Since constant losses are known, efficiency can be estimated at any load. The method is convenient and economical as less power is required for testing even a large motor. That is, only no load power is to be supplied because we are not actually loading the motor. The motor is not required to be loaded. That is, only test to be carried out is the no load test. What are the disadvantages? In this method, the iron losses are assumed to be constant, which is not the true case as they change from no load to full load. So due to armature reaction at a full load, there will be distortion in the flux, which will increase the iron loss. Generally, iron loss will be changed with loading condition, but we are not considering that change in iron loss. We are taking as a constant. The only test which is carried out is the no load test. Hence, it is difficult to know whether there will be satisfactory commutation at full load. So we have assumed that there is a rise in temperature of 40 degrees centigrade at full load, which cannot be checked actually as we are not actually loading the motor. So as it is no load test, it cannot be performed on series motor. So let us see a problem on this. A 440 volts DC shunt motor takes a no load current of 2.5 amperes. The resistance of the shunt field and armature are 550 ohms and 1.2 ohms respectively. The full load line current is 32 amperes. Find the full load current and the efficiency of the motor. So you see here the no load current is given as 2.5 amperes. Therefore, you can calculate the no load input P into I, that is 1100 watts. We know ISH is equal to V by RSH. Therefore, 440 by 500. In DC shunt motor, therefore total current is equal to shunt current plus armature current. So therefrom, you can calculate IA, armature current is equal to total current minus shunt current, shunt field current, which is 1.7 amperes. So no load armature copper loss you can calculate Ia square Ra. After substituting these values, we'll get 3.468 watts. Therefore, constant loss is equal to no load input minus no load armature copper loss. So if you substitute, you will get 1096.532 watts. So now the full load line current, that is I is equal to 32 amperes. So they have given full load line current is 32 amperes. So when I is equal to 32 amperes, then you substitute these values in I is equal to ISH plus Ia, you will get Ia. That means armature current at full load. Because this ISH is treated as constant, therefore 32 minus 0.8 is 31.2 amperes. Therefore, full load copper losses are given as Ia square Ra, which is 1168.128 watts. Therefore, total loss is equal to full load armature copper loss plus constant losses. Already we have calculated the constant losses as 1096.532 watts. So that we can substitute here. We got full load copper loss. Therefore, total losses we got. What is the full load motor input V into I? 440 into 32, which is equal to 14,080 watts. What is the full load motor output? Input minus losses. We substitute the input and losses, will get 11,815.34 watts. Therefore, efficiency at full load is equal to full load output by full load input into 100. Therefore, we got 83.91%. So this is the way, by calculating the constant losses, that means by calculating the no load copper losses, by calculating the constant losses, and substituting these constant losses at any load condition, we will get the efficiency at any load. So we'll discuss about brake test in the next session.